Oh, welcome back. The incubator program at the State Theatre is bringing attention to a topic often ignored. The struggles of being a 15-year-old girl in South Africa take centre stage through dance and music. ENCA's Ignored Flow has the story.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important announcement.
Masachaba can't afford to buy sanitary pads to last her through her period. She's too scared to simply sit in class or even join her peers in dance. Titled The Ignored Flow, the play shows the inequality women face from a young age.
She is on this debacle, like going through this thing, but however she can't support herself, or she can't, how do you say, that she can't fend for herself, so she can't even buy pads. So she goes to the government, goes in and addresses them at that very young age.
One of the characters says the production won't make the problem go away overnight.
This show, it's not everything, but it's kind of a hint of really what women go through every month, and then must just understand which this is painful for them, not for us.
The dance routine encompasses the ups and downs endured during the menstruation cycle.
I researched first because I grew up in a family that had a lot of girls in my family. I have a lot of sisters. So I saw that happening to them, like going through their periods, how they were acting, mood swings and stuff like that. So it was not that hard for me to implement these movements in the show.
Government in 2018 announced that sanitary towels will be VAT-free. But is that enough?
I once faced what she was facing, and I was wondering to myself, Khuri, why the government is giving out free condoms instead of like giving us free pads.
The play moved me, hey, and the play changed my mindset. Like, the government should just start giving like free pads like tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Because
what these young girls are going through, it's hectic, it's
very
hard.
Painful.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
The thought-provoking production runs at the State Theatre every evening until the 17th of February. Udirile Ramafsi, Pretoria.
Well, breaking the menstruation stigma is at the heart of this dance production, but so is a campaign run by sanitary towel company that's Libres. Now, #BloodNormal aims to help reduce society's often squeamish response to menstruation. Joining us to talk about all of this is Libres brand manager, that's Mpono Jiwa, and Ignored Flow director, Nkamogeleng Lebelwane. I haven't butchered it too much. Good morning, ladies, and thank you for your time. And come on, let's start with you and the production that we've just seen. What was the motivation? I mean, yes, we know for many years now, sanitary pads, that's been our focus, to get it to girls so that they don't have to miss school and they can get going. But for you, what was your motivating factor with this production?
I think more than anything, it was the gender equality, that it was more theoretical than practical. So I was just trying to create awareness and to just say there's a need to be urgent about to get free sanitary towels in a poverty-stricken and gender-equal country. I think that's where I started, was the gender equality. But I was thinking, we can't speak gender equality until we speak gender equity. The other part was human dignity. If we are talking human dignity, there's nothing dignified about having women who go on their periods and having to use foreign subjects. Those are the two main motivators or things that made.
And in 2019, Nkamo, we shouldn't really be having this discussion. We shouldn't have a girl anywhere who is unable to go to school because she has her period but doesn't have anything to
I think
to win.
25 years into democracy, and where we are preaching gender equality, something is not adding up. So I think people should introspect, and I think the Ignored Flow is a perfect platform because it's edutainment. People are able to reflect because art has been a mirror, so you're able to see yourself. Because we might wait on the government, but what are we as the people of South Africa doing in the meantime? Because a girl is not going to stop bleeding because we are still waiting for someone to hear us out. Yeah.
Isn't that? It's such a pity. And Paul, and I mean, with Libres, I'd like to know about your hashtag Blood Normal campaign and just what you're trying to get across with that.
Basically, Blood Normal campaign, which starts in February now, was started at the back end of a global survey that we ran around periods. And some of the findings of the survey say that 52% of women would rather talk to their managers about a raise for salaries instead of talking about periods or admitting that they have periods. And I think a terrifying stat is that girls would rather be bullied than talk about periods with their parents. Yeah. And I think it's because there's so much stigma and taboo surrounding periods. It's one of those conversations that we never have with our parents, we never have in schools, and parents just almost seem to hope that it goes away. And as Libres, we hope that at the end of our campaign, we will discourage period shaming. We will make the conversation more comfortable to talk about periods. I mean, in 2017, we started a campaign called Vagina Varsity, where we were talking about vaginal health and we were talking about period care as well. Because we found that in South Africa, in a very conservative society, women don't talk about period care. They don't talk about hygiene when it comes to menstruation. And you find that there's a lot of myths that surround this, and there's a lot of shaming.
As if it's a bad thing.
As if it's a bad thing.
But then we all celebrate when a baby is born.
Exactly.
Come on, isn't that such an irony?
Yeah, and it's so natural, and it, like, people act like it's just so foreign and weird when it's the most natural thing. And when you go on your period, you know you are healthy, and you should
and not dirty as some people make you feel.
You should celebrate your period because it means you are a healthy woman who can give birth to children
and bring this gift, this gift of life. Now, I mean, let's talk about cultural issues. And when it comes to, you know, yes, we can educate our daughters, our husbands at the moment, and our sons. You can't educate grandpa about it because, I mean, that's like, but when it comes to culture, how do we break that down? Because in certain cultures, that's a very difficult conversation to have.
Yeah, it's just, we have to talk about it.
Especially with men.
Yeah. I think for us, it's just to normalize it. It's to speak more on it. And I think, like any revolution, there's you have to make people uncomfortable. So we have to start there until people are actually able to talk about it freely. And it's for the best because then girls are going to be able to speak up. Even during accidents, they'll be able to get help.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to remove the stigma, I think we must just keep talking about it, and we must not censor ourselves and use like, oh, it's that time of the month. We must say, I'm on my period.
I am bleeding.
I'm bleeding.
And I feel like now, Paul, it's also very, you know, quite a thing to be able to go to your boss, like you said, and say, you know what, I'm really feeling terrible today, and this is the reason. And is that part of your campaign also to say, you know what, and some women do have it really badly. They do come with, the cramps are, you know, they're debilitated by it. And, you know, it's no excuse, yes, but I had a colleague once who said, I believe a woman should get at least 2 days off every month that doesn't come off her leave because of what we go through in that time. And as Libres, and in your campaign, I mean, is that part of it to say, be able to
Yes,
do that
very much.
Yeah.
Yes, very much. I think our campaign, we want to show real depictions of what periods are. And some of the pictures that we use on our digital campaign is girls handing a pad to another girl without hiding it.
To hide it in your
because we
pockets
always hide our pads.
Yeah.
And for men to carry a pack of pads, buying it or whether handing it to a girl child without needing to buy bread and milk and everything else to cover the product. I think as media, it is our responsibility, and as brands, it's our responsibility to depict positive period pictures, those conversations, so that the more we see it, the more normal it becomes.
Well, let's see it. Let's have a look at your campaign and the message that you've got. Yeah, that's, I mean, a lot of people go like, oh, how could they? But what's been the response to that?
I think the response has been really, really good. It's part of a much bigger global campaign. South Africa is at the start of it now, but in other countries it's been very, very positive. And I think women are ready to talk about it. We don't want to hide anymore.
Are men ready to talk about it?
I think men are ready to talk about it. And as you mentioned before, there's a lot of homes that are headed by men. And how do they talk to their girls? You know, should girls be always looking for information on Google? And is it the right information that they're getting? And if we're having these conversations at home, then we normalize things. Then girls don't have to walk around with myths that they can't wash their hair because they're on their periods, that they can't cook because they're on their
Or
periods.
in our culture, you can't light your lamp at home because you have your meal. How can it be a bad thing when, you know, if you're praying, the powers that be gave you the ability to do this. So,
exactly. And I think it's just taking away the stigma and shaming of women because of their periods. Because in all honesty, we all would not be here if it wasn't for the great period, right?
Yes, yes, we all would be here if it
Exactly.
wasn't
And I
for
think we need to be able to talk about normally. And I think the conversation is changing.
It is. And Kamo, last word from you.
I would just like to say, before we can speak gender equality, let's start with gender equity, and part of it would be distributing free sanitary towels, just like we do with free condoms. Because sex is a choice, but menstruation is not.
Just making it VAT-free is not enough, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it should be one of those things that we get for free. Well, wonderful. Thank you, ladies. A nice open conversation. And let's hope the message here starts to get through to those who actually need to hear it. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. That's Libres Brand Manager Mpono Jiwa and Ignored Flow Director in Kamogeleng, Level 1A, joining us for this chat this morning.